everybody. I'm Rebecca Gunter, and you're watching episode 5 of Business in the Raw. Oh boy, y'all. We're at my favorite part of the process. This is where I take 3 very different positioning statements that I created and present them to Janine for her review. We're going to look at one that's a little vanilla, one that's a little butterscotch, and one that's a little avant-garde. Together, we'll go through them line by line, and she'll identify what really resonates with her. We'll pick out the best of the best, and we'll leave the rest behind. When we're done, we'll have one single positioning statement that answers the following questions. Who are her people? What do they need? Who is she? What does she deliver? And why is Janine Payne special, different, or the one? Follow along on a ringside seat, fly on the wall perspective as we carve out a bold and beautiful brand for one entrepreneur, because the world is our oyster. Okay, Miss Janine, look, today is your day for defining what this thing is. Today is your day. I'm excited for you.
I'm excited as well. Yeah, and I have to be honest, I got a few little butterflies going on, and every time I check myself, I'm like, wait, what's going on? You know how you go through your day and you get this feeling, like, wait, something else is on your mind. What is it? And I keep going back to this, and I'm like, oh my God, that's right. This is so cool. This is a reveal. My God.
When last we left our heroes, we went through the discovery process of trying to come up with the answers to the following questions. Who are our people? What do they need? Who are we? What do we deliver? And why are we special, different, or the one? So I asked you oodles and oodles of organic questions. I took tons of notes, and then I synthesized that information into 3 possible positioning statements that we will explore today. That's what we're going to do, is look at what could it possibly be. I'm going to share a document with you. It has 3 positioning statements laid out already. Version 1, version 2, and version 3. One's a little vanilla, one's a little butterscotch, and one's a little avant-garde. I'm going to read all of those to you out loud, and then I'm going to turn the mic over to you, Janine, and you're going to respond. I love this. I hate that. This one feels right. This doesn't. And generally, what we'll come up with at the end of the day is a hybrid between the best of the best. A little from column A, a little from column B. It's rare that someone's like, that is the one right there in total. That happens every once in a while, but it's generally unusual. So don't feel like I like something from A, but something from B, and I got to pick which is the better one. We get a chance to create a version 4, which was usually the cream of the crop of all the things we liked.
Creme de la creme.
Anything that strikes the cutting room floor, essentially, but still is good, we drop that down to a messaging bucket. So it's still valid. You're not going to lose anything that you love. Everything will show up. Are you ready? Are you ready
Yes,
for some?
I'm
Are you ready for?
ready.
Are you ready for some football?
I'm ready for some football. Oh my God.
Okay, let's do the thing.
Okay.
So I'm going to share my screen. Do you see this document?
I do see this document.
Okay, fabulous. Positioning, as we've discussed before, is an internal thing. And the reason it's important to remember that is once we start thinking about who we're going to turn off with our positioning, am I going to offend somebody? Is that going to be a turn off? Or is everyone going to see themselves here in this brand? Then it becomes less authentic and genuine because you're second guessing what a buyer might like instead of being true to yourself. So if this statement never sees the public eye, it's perfectly fine. I've done one for people before where it's like 4 grown ass women who need to get their shit together, blah 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 blah, that never doesn't really come out public facing, but it helps the entrepreneur with their own North Star. And then I've done some that are that direct that do come out public facing, which is pretty cool. All right. Like I said, I'm going to read each one to you, and then you're going to respond to them appropriately.
Okay, I'm gonna
Or
close my eyes.
not appropriately. That's you're gonna just gonna. I'm gonna read each one. We're turn it over to you, and then we'll do a response.
Thank you.
All right. For version 1, for audiences everywhere, who need to hear voices with heart and soul in order to make a connection. Janine Payne is the voiceover artist, songstress, and audio actor that delivers the sound experience and energy in vocalizations, storytelling, and song for digital media and creative/slash commercial endeavors because branding is a feeling. Version 2 for podcasts, platforms, and programs that need to sound authentic and accessible. The Janine Sound Experience is the voiceover and branded audio design studio that delivers enchanting engagement in a high fidelity and a royal roster of talented and spirited Black voiceover artists ready to bring mighty messaging to life and hit your people right where they live because every brand, community, or movement needs a familiar voice. Version 3 for companies, causes, and communities that need communications and commercials that exude feelings of peace, protection, and possibility. The Janine Sound Collective is the voiceover artist, actor, activist agency that delivers the moral and maverick cohort of collaborators with diverse voices that ooze the smooth soothe and express ideas to showcase brand and make messaging mean something because every script, song, and story needs a human heart.
Wow. Wow. Oh
It's
my
on you.
god. So, it's so interesting. First of all, I love your introduction to what these are all about, and that 100% is if it feels like me, if it sounds like me. The authenticity is really important. So I thank you for that because it is really easy to hear something and going, "Oh, I don't know if that's how someone's gonna view me and whatever." No. Is it you? Is it me that I hear? And or that I hear described? And it's interesting because, yes, I feel each one. I don't think any one of the 3 are incorrect or off base or, just don't reflect who I know I am. I the first one, if the first one felt more soft paw, I don't know if that's the right way to put it, and it's interesting.
That's the vanilla one.
Vanilla. And I like the vanilla one because it is more comfortable, but comfort is not necessarily what I'm seeking. I have to believe it. And I love the way Janine Payne is the voiceover artist, songstress, and audio actor is that speaks to who I am. Yeah, it definitely does. And all the rest of the words, it describes me. It describes me, the experience and energy and but I'm also speaking to an audience, right? Whom I want to see these words, feel it, and you mentioned feeling here. And see that delivers the sound experience and energy in vocalization, storytelling, and song for digital media and creative commercial endeavors because branding is a feeling. Gosh, that line that sends me. And yeah, so that the crux of that I love. Thank you for highlighting the stuff on the screen. Gosh, version 2, and I'm just
Yeah,
gonna
this is a great way to approach it, Janine, is to just tell me the things you love. I'm going to highlight them. It's also important that you identify things you do not want to use.
thank you.
I hate that's not me, or please don't use that in any of my copy, so that we can strike it and it doesn't then seep over into your brand expression. So just continue like responding. I like this, and I'll keep highlighting. If something's a maybe, and sometimes it's just a matter of a word, we'll highlight that in yellow.
Okay, thank you.
So yeah,
I love the in version 2, the sound okay, for podcast platforms and programs that need to sound authentic and accessible. I think it is the authentic and accessible that I like most. Although I understand that the first part is an opportunity for people to identify if I am who they're looking for. Do they need a podcast? Do they need a platform? Do they or is it a program that they are working to? Wow, what was that all about? Oh, or if it's a pro did you hear that?
No, the world didn't hurt it. That never happened.
Okay.
We're gonna erase history.
I don't care, it's me, you know what I mean? I breathe. Oh my gosh, no, you don't. Yes, I do.
Yes,
Um,
you breathe. The first one is for go back here a little bit.
alright.
I'm here. The first one is for audiences. The second one is for the thing, platforms, podcasts, and programs. And
Mhm,
then the third one is for entities and communities. The
mhm,
first one is like for audiences. And the second one being like, okay, if you have a podcast platform
right.
or program, then you need the thing that I just dream. There we go.
Ah,
Back at it.
that's great.
Yeah. So that's really the approach of the positioning. We're coming at it from different angles. So
So
this one is reinforcing what needs a voiceover, these platforms.
yes, I got that, and for podcasts, would that be podcasts that I produce or a podcast that someone may want to use my voice for production?
It works for both, so it doesn't shoehorn you in. You can interpret you can interpret it. You can interpret it as for other people's podcasts or for your own podcast. It doesn't define that, which leaves you open.
Ah, okay. The Janine Sound Experience. I love your note. It is a comeback kid. The Janine Sound Experience is the voiceover. I love the word experience in this language. The
Me
Janine.
too.
Uh-huh.
Why would we not use it's right in front of our faces?
Is
I've
in our
always loved that. And a sound experience and then eponomin ep, named after you.
yes.
Eponymously
Yes.
named after you is also important to me. So I changed it to collective in the third one so we could look at it that way. But
Yeah, I
fight me,
heard that.
baby.
I heard that. I heard, and it's so funny. And I'll talk a little bit about the collective, and I'll tell you why I love the sound experience. Sana is a voiceover branded audio design studio that delivers enchanting engagement and a high fidelity and royal rooster. The royal rooster made me laugh. I'm sorry, roster. That's why it made me laugh because I thought rooster. Okay, that delivers enchanting engagement and a high fidelity and royal roster of talented and spirited Black VO. Makes sense. Makes sense. Yes. And in high fidelity, yeah, I said A, didn't I? Ready to bring mighty messaging to life and hit your people right where they live. Because every brand, community, or movement needs a familiar voice. Ah, this one sings to me. I think,
This one is the agency,
uh
and the
huh,
one above it is just you.
it's just me.
So,
I know.
so there's nothing stopping us from using both of these. So let's just say we love this one,
Uh,
and this was the final. Then this would brand the agency. So the top one, then version one is you. So the agency at the top, and then yourself within the company, positioned within the company, and who your voice talents are. And when we add a second person, they have a unique positioning. And when we add a third person, they have a unique position. There's a way to
wow.
weave these all together that doesn't make them mutually exclusive in any kind of way.
Thank you. I think you know me probably well enough that it's easy for me to begin segmenting. Wait, this sounds like me, but this is the company, the organization, the so I love everything about number 2, honestly, version 2. And
You could be one of those rare birds where we nailed it right there.
yeah,
But I
because
know you so well.
you do.
So to write these, it just took me into my Janine space.
Ah,
And I don't know if you know this about me, but when I write for somebody, I write to music that I think represents the brand,
oh wow.
very well. I don't know if I can do this, but I started with you with India RE and I switched to Jill Scott pretty fast. So
Ah,
Jill Scott really informed version two. Like I was just feeling that buoyancy of it for sure.
I can feel that. I can feel that, and I love the hi-fi, that wording.
Oh my god, engagement in high fidelity.
Yeah.
I put a cherry on it for a while because I just was like enchanting engagement in high fidelity
Oh my god.
and a royal roster of talented and spirited, which I thought spoke to your spirit,
Yeah,
your faith,
I
in a
love it.
way that didn't pigeonhole you into only gospel or
Exactly.
only Christian spaces or only this, but spirited still meaning either passionate, alive, vocal color plus the spirit as a capital S.
Yes, that's a capital S as well. Exactly. I get yes. It's the heart, and you're speaking to the heart of who I am. I love it. I do. I love this. So
It feels amazing to
it
yeah.
it actually does. And there's a part of me as you were introducing the segment, I thought, okay, so don't just dive into one. That's what I'm telling myself. Make sure you absorb and feel it. This one, honestly, it jumps out at me for all the reasons that we've just discussed. So
I
thank
love this
you.
one for you as well. The third one then is a little bit more towards radical the radicalness we went into. Do you
Mm,
remember when I said I think your voice makes people feel less oppressed and we both
yeah,
clutched our hearts?
yeah, yeah.
So how could I do that in a way that didn't center
Mm,
whiteness and didn't center blackness,
like that. Yeah,
but still be just the realest of the real about your value proposition?
yeah, they're real.
So I think there is, I think moral and maverick is such an interesting juxtaposition for you.
Mm.
Whether you want to position yourself for that way, this piece here, the moral and maverick.
I love that. And presently, I'm not looking at the words. I am now.
Sorry,
Um,
sorry, Janine.
No, it's fine. Listen, because sometimes it's good to hear you say the words without having them in front of me, because then you can get distracted with everything else because you're trying to pull it all together. But the I like moral and maverick because it does speak to me. It actually does. Yeah, because I do believe that the more we are who we are and we have opportunity where opportunities are given for us to put a stake in the ground and say, no, this is who we are. I think it's important people get to know a little bit more about you. So I love that cohort. So it reads, the Janine Sound Collective is the voiceover artist, actor, activist agency. And I love the Janine experience, the Janine sound. I forgot how it read, but the Janine experience. But anyway, the Janine experience, I'll just say that, delivers the moral and maverick cohort of collaborators with diverse voices. I love that. That oozes the smooth soothe. Wow, how do you do this? That ooze the smooth soothe, inspire interest and express ideas. Okay.
I cannot even begin to tell you how much that tickled me.
How in the heck?
At first, it was ooze the soothe, and then I was like, "Oh, it's ooze the soothe, the smooth the soothe." That's a challenge for you as a voiceover artist to be able to
Yeah,
say
it
that.
actually is.
But
That would
I
take about
just,
10 takes.
I was like tickled a lot.
Oh, you should have been. Yeah, that ooze, the smooth, the soothe. Funny. Okay, inspire interest and express ideas to showcase brand and make messaging mean something because every script, song, and story needs a human now, what speaks to me is that latter part of this, showcase brand and make yeah, I mean, because every script, song, and story needs the human heart. It reminds me of something else that you wrote, I think in version 2, brand feeling. I think it was the creative because branding is a feeling. It gave me that same sort of sense of, I don't know, almost complimenting what people already know, but they need to see the words to help describe what they're looking for.
That's how it works, Mama.
Wow.
It's exactly how it works. Exactly reinforcing that. And then your because only becomes the tagline, which is cool.
Ah,
But I
yes.
will share that if you choose branding as a feeling, there's someone I'm going to have to ask for permission to use it because way back in the Wayback Machine, you and I were associated with an entrepreneur, and that was her tagline. Branding is a feeling. Now that person, she no longer has a brand strategy agency. It's long gone. But if you choose that one, I'll have to ask her for permission,
Ah, got it. No, and
which
I
is
totally get
fine.
it. I totally get it. Yeah. And it needed that latter one because of every script, every whatever, it gives me that same pull of heart. Yeah. So
Good. That doesn't. If we decide to use it in messaging, not so much. But if we make that the major tagline that's on
understand.
the cover of your website because you know her and I know her,
Yeah.
we'll just need to ask for a blessing to stay to take that one. But it was very accurate for you, and I'm sure she would say yes.
She has that heart. Yeah.
I'm sure she would say yes. So we'll go back over here.
Okay, yeah. Oh, I said I would say something about the Janine Sound Collective or the Janine Collective. So the website, and I won't give it right now because I think all of that is going to change, but the website related to the collective, it was, I think I've described it to you as my sandbox. So it basically represents all of the various sort of interests that I have, hobbies, and so includes music and gardening. And at the time, I was feeling a little just I needed to have a voice around the whole voting situation in 20, what was that, 2021? Is that when we last voted?
2020.
No, it was 2020. Yeah, and I just wanted to have a voice and not to change people's I didn't have to know who they were voting for, but just to p get people engaged in the conversation with less anger, and so it was my space also to play with words and to offer I did poetry and I sang and did things like that, so that's what's on that website. So the collective in and of itself is different than the Janine experience. But I was excited to hear you say Collect. I'm like, "Oh my god," and she listens all the time.
I love this. I've always loved that brand name for you.
Thank you.
I can't. I'm like, why would if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Yeah, that's it. I love it. I actually love it because my LC currently is the Janine Sound Company LC, but that would just be a shift of the name, but we're not even there yet. So it's just amazing how buoyant or uh, self-fulfilling, I don't know, some of those words are because it means a lot to you and then to me as well, or has that impact.
And it's such a powerful. Why would you argue with that? Yeah, it ain't broke, don't fix it.
That's
So they put
right.
it any way they want. I also really liked Audio Design Studio for you.
Yeah.
The third one, which has this, let me get back over there. Add to stream, figure it out. The third one that has this brand, this alliterative, this whole one is alliterative. Companies, causes, communities, communication, commercial, peace, protection, possibility, moral and
Yeah.
maverick, smooth,
Yeah.
smooth, all of it. The voiceover artist, actor, activist agency, I think is cute. We could make va va voom out of it
Mm.
pretty easily. But honestly, I think that voiceover and branded audio design studio is so expansive.
I do
This
too.
is so you could grow into this
I
as much
agree.
as or as little as you wanted to.
Yeah.
So of those, this one is absolutely my favorite as a way to
I agree.
describe you.
Thank you. Yeah, that
So
I'm saying thank you to you, but you wrote it, but you felt it and just designed it based on everything that you've heard and seen.
I recently had this done for myself. You really have to get a facilitator to do it. I recently had it done for Jill did it, and so you'll get a chance to meet Jill. And I didn't know how profoundly it affects you to hear it, to see it, to experience it. I'm not gonna lie, YouTube fam.
And
I cried like a baby and there were tears of joy. Like it's just so profound to be seen. So I don't want to skip over that and be like, yeah, I wrote it. I do this all the time, which is how I was before I experienced it myself. So holding space for kind of the mirror
yeah.
holding up and seeing yourself and seeing what you can expand into is super
Yes.
powerful.
Yes. And finding it within myself to say, Yes, that is who I am." The agreement matters as well, because it's easy to deny although this sounds like Janine, how crazy is it? But it happens. You deny that this is who you are, but this mirror is truly looking back at me, and I'm in agreement with what I see. Gosh. It's in our last session, and what was it called?
Discovery.
The discovery, I should know that. In the discovery, after we finished that session, I was in tears. I was in tears because I felt that this next step, what I'm seeing now, I knew that it would reflect who I am. And that agreement, I have to tell you, with the heart, mind, soul, that is huge. And to know that I have a partner who, in you, who is willing to take a step back and to merge everything or strip out what doesn't necessarily work, or is no, this is not what she said this. And to make it into something that I can agree to is huge. So
I think that's profound for you because your number one thing is integrity.
yeah,
I would have liked to have worked integrity into the positioning statement, but it didn't. It felt like it just almost sterilized the
I
humanness
get
of
that.
it, so I left it out. But nothing we will write or do or say for you will be out of integrity, because it is, to me, that's one of your core
Yeah.
values, and anything that isn't out of alignment with integrity will be off brand.
Thank you. And I think you're right to have to use the word integrity. And obviously there are times when you use it in branding and all that. But to have to use it in this sense, given everything that we've talked about, y- you've identified other phrases and descriptions that speak to integrity, the importance of integrity in my life and work. Bravo. Thank you. This is so exciting. I'm just, hey, for folks that are watching, you it's something to have someone that's working with you as closely as I am with Rebecca, and that you see this result of your conversations is not all for naught. It's not that it truly is worthwhile doing the work and responding to her number of questions. It is, and very rarely, and I'll speak to my life, have I had someone who would take the time and to do the work and to walk it out with me, and then I have this product. I'm just speaking to you all out there. It does work, and this is no I'm just being very supportive
We're
of
not
the book.
feeding. We're not being fed lines. It's
We're
really
not being fed
happening,
lines, that's it. Yep,
which is
not at
awesome.
all.
Thank you for that acknowledgement, honey.
It's true.
I appreciate it. All right, let's get back to you then, shall we?
We shall.
You shall. All right. It seems to me like you are pretty happy with version 2 if we just would change this piece. And maybe it's this here.
Ah, yes.
And it just wraps it all up for you.
Yes, it does.
Let's just take the highlighting away so we can read it. For companies, causes, and communities that need to sound authentic and accessible, the Janine Sound Experience is the voiceover and branded audio design studio that delivers enchanting engagement and high fidelity, and a royal roster of talented and spirited Black VO artists ready to bring mighty messaging to life and hit your people right where they live, because every brand, community, or movement needs a familiar voice.
That's it.
Is every piece of this a fuck yes for you?
Every piece is a F yes for me. Every piece.
Mm,
And
mm,
it
mm,
definitely
mm.
carves out yeah, oops. Oh, yeah, thank you. Thank you. Yeah. Doing a little bit too much dancing in here. But yeah, every word. And it's interesting because the Black VO artist, initially when I saw it, I thought, will it only be Black VO artists? And that is the niche. That is the focus. But then I thought, what if I change that and it's minority voices that are represented in this space? Would I need to change that? Yeah, I probably would. But then does it take away from who we're saying or the purpose of I don't know why I was looking up for the answer, but the purpose of this process, it's who am I? What change am I moving to affect? And it's to get our voices in spaces where either they haven't existed or that we want to create a bridge or for that to fill the gap. And so then there's that influx of Black voices. What I don't know, and this is a question for you to help me with, do you feel that there might be people who are and not offended because I'm not going there, but who will feel perhaps slightly different than I do, that they don't want to be boxed into that space?
That other voiceover artists,
Yeah.
one, you can shop it around. Find out. Would you be interested in a voiceover agency that was very loud and proud about by us for us type of vibe?
Yep.
Or would you feel that's limiting? That's just a simple question of a couple people.
Yep.
Other reminder that friendly that this is internal. So we don't ever have to publish that if we don't choose to. And then the third piece here is that Let me get back to that screen. The third piece here is that it would be easy just to add brown and cover
Ah,
both of those. One thing I don't want to do is call you, and I don't want to call your royal roster of talented and spirited voiceover artists a minority in any kind of way.
right.
I
No,
think that centers whiteness.
me too.
So
So do I. Yeah.
you see nothing here that's about inclusion. You see nothing here that is about. I did have diversity in another one, but
Mm,
not front and center. You see nothing here about inclusivity or variety. It's on your own merit of
yeah.
talented and spirited voiceover artists who are ready to bring mighty messaging to life and hit your people right where they live.
Yep.
We say nothing about it
Nope.
other than that, and I think that elevates us from centering whiteness around
Exactly.
minority or BIPOC or
Yep.
well, something I've heard recently is the global descendants of the global majority or people of the global
Uh,
majority, which I think is also interesting, but it's not common enough to know and it's politicizing everything.
that's right.
We can just stand on our own merit of who we are, and that is
Hmm.
it. Case closed.
That's right. And it's interesting because I know that have had these conversations with my colleagues. I work in public health. So the black and brown, even, and I know this is what we're playing with, and this can remain internal or whatever. But even black and brown, the brown, sometimes there's question about, but wait, who are you describing? And to your point, the more you begin to not necessarily just dissect, but you gloss over what you're really trying to say. Is it people of color? Who are the people of color? What are you talking about? So I do think, I know I'm going a long way around. Black and brown is probably the best marriage in trying to describe the audience, not the audience, but the body of other artists. So
I'm
yeah, isn't it? It's
obviously I'm coming to it with some filters of my own, obviously, but those words are always the ones I find to be the least high load.
yeah,
We can strip it out, by the way, if we wanted to. I'm going to take us back to that tab here for a second and look at it. It wouldn't really look, see it without it.
honestly, I like something there because that what go this points back to our conversation about losing or not enough black artists, the voices being used in product promotion and so forth. So I think it needs to be there. It just needs to be spirited black, but I think black and brown is good. I really do.
I agree with you.
Seriously, I really do. Yeah.
I agree. It's not limiting,
Yep.
it's expansive, it's not centering otherness or minority or
Hmm.
centering how this not that, this ain't that. Episode 3 is this ain't that, which is fun. So I agree with you. I think that taking it out makes it accurate and it's still fun positioning, but putting it back in makes it
It,
disruptor status.
it,
This is your moral and maverick
yeah.
together.
Yes. Yes, it is.
Yeah, I
It
agree.
personifies it, doesn't it?
It
Yeah.
does.
Yep.
So I think that this very easily stands as a whole with your as the studio itself.
Yep.
Version number 1 can still stand as
Mm.
who you are within the agency itself.
Yes.
And then version 3, I feel like we're really going to drop down
Yeah.
to messaging a little bit. Let's see what I think. Not that you have to adhere to what I think, but
No,
here's how
take
I
it.
think messaging could go. And if it's not a yes, if it feels gross, we're going to take it out.
All right. All right. Wow. 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 You are so good.
Janine,
Yes.
am I muted? Okay, good. Is your because only every brand, community, or movement needs a familiar voice, or is your because only because every script, song, and story needs a human art?
It's the latter. I think it's the latter. Okay, hold 1 second. Let's see.
I'm
Listen,
gonna.
deadline here to people when they live it because every brand, community, or movement needs a familiar voice. Okay, and the other one is because every script, song, and story needs a human heart. Wow.
I think it's that.
Yeah, I do too.
So let's just move this down. Good. So look, you did get a hybrid. You weren't straight up to number 2.
Wow.
We pulled some things for 3, and we're using 1 in its entirety almost.
Good gravy.
So now that's not that. Make Showcase, I think these are two separate things. Make messaging mean something is
Uh-huh.
huge.
Oh, it is.
I think showcase brand is on its own, and make messaging mean something is huge.
I would agree. I
Familiar
would
voice.
agree.
See, this is softer here, but it works in messaging. And then there's one more thing. Yeah, ooze the smooth soothe.
I know.
That's like your tagline already.
It is.
I got to put that up top.
You gotta use that. Oh my god.
We are so using that.
Ooze the smooth soothe.
Okay, so now this one goes away,
Yeah. Wow.
and this one becomes the final,
Amazing. Amazing.
and then this one becomes Janine only. Yeah, overall or main.
Yeah, got it.
Yeah, actually, we're going to do it this way. The Janine sound experience.
Yeah.
And this one is just not the just. There we go.
Yeah.
Now up here. Now this one. And final that one. And strip that.
Wow.
And messaging. So let's look at it
Yeah.
all together. For Janine. For audiences everywhere who need to hear voices with heart and soul in order to make a connection. I think that's very accurate.
Yeah.
Janine Payne is the voiceover artist, songstress, and audio actress an audio actor that delivers the sound experience. We're tying the company in now, and energy in vocalization, storytelling, and song for digital media and creative/commercial endeavors, because branding is a feeling. We can keep it there for that. If we were going to use it for the overall brand, we'd need to get blessing.
Got it.
Then for main positioning for companies, causes, and communities that need to sound authentic and accessible. The Janine Sound Experience is the voiceover and branded audio design studio that delivers enchanting engagement and high fidelity, and a royal roster of talented and spirited Black and Brown voiceover artists ready to bring mighty messaging to life and hit your people right where they live, because every script, song, and story needs a human heart. That's hitting you right where you live.
It totally is.
Ooze the soothe. Communications and commercials that exude feelings of peace, protection, and possibility. I spent a lot of time looking up antonyms for oppression.
You hit it. Okay. Got it.
The moral and maverick cohort of collaborators with diverse voices. Inspire interest and express ideas. Showcase brand. Make messaging mean something. Every brand, community, or movement needs a familiar voice.
Oh my god. Those are fantastic messages. I see in the fourth line, I think where you say where they live because something. I think you have to take out one of the becauses.
Oh, yeah.
I,
Thanks.
and I almost started singing because
Because of the wonderful things she does.
da-da-da-da-da-da. Yes, it's amazing to see how these things flow, but I keep using the word agree, but they agree with me. There was nothing in each of those areas that didn't feel like or communicate. And I loved where diverse, the word diverse fell. And I think it's in the messaging without
Is.
saying in a diverse pool of artists or a diverse, because you talked about that. So you really contemplated about using diversity. But I like where diverse is placed because it still speaks to who we are. Oh my God, I
And it
just said
and
we.
that yeah, and it gives you room, because we're not saying that diversity is necessarily divided along racial assumptions or
Exactly.
categories. That diversity could mean do you have an older woman as
That's
as an
right.
option, like in her 80s or 90s? Do you
Yes.
have teenagers? Do you have people who have done voice training
Mhm.
for gender affirmation and gender
That's right.
affirming lifestyle? Do you have all of
That
that? Diversity can play in here as
that's
well,
right.
which is
I love
great.
it. I love it. I love it. I love it. And I'll say one more time and I'll just try to sum this up. I love it. So, how do you I don't know. I don't have to ask how we got here because I know that, but I just think it's amazing that especially the messages and how those were pulled out of the other positioning statements and then became the messages, but that they are spot on. I just oh my god. You're muted or I am. Or I can't.
No, it's me because people are talking in the background.
Oh,
Zach.
good. Oh. Oh, you're it's live.
This is the work that we've been. We're not really live though. This is the work that we've been doing. This is what we've been leading up to. How do we position? Who are your people? What do they need? Who are you? What do you deliver? And why are you special, different, or the one? We can articulate that, and now we can go out and sell it. We've branded it. Now we can sell it.
Yes.
So our next session, you actually are with Jill, which is exciting.
I know.
So with Jill, you and Jill will take this positioning and start to vision out how can an actual business, what will an actual business model look like based on the assumption of this positioning. And so it's marrying like the theoretical and the practical and the
practical.
pragmatic.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then we come back and we start looking at asset development. Get your assets in gear. That's what we'll be doing. So
Okay.
what does a website look like?
Yes.
Do we have a good headshot? Do we have a logo? All of those things are really the first stages of getting a marketing mix together so that you can actually follow any opportunity that you want.
Absolutely.
At your own pace.
Oh my God.
However you decide to do it.
Oh man, I'm telling you what, I'm like at the barn door kicking. I used to watch, what is it called? I think roping. Is it roping? I think when, we lived in California and it's this whole community and really across the West Coast. I don't think as much in the East Coast as far as I know. But when I finish, you'll see, yeah, she really doesn't know anything. But when cattle are let out of the gate, and then you have that expert, that professional who is, and I don't know all the terms,
Yeah, I
who,
think it is robot. I've been watching Yellowstone.
oh, you have, okay.
That's all they've been doing
We
out there.
used to we used to go to roping events in, I don't know if it was Santa Maria. I can't remember where we would drive, but I loved it. And I watched a lot on television. I find it very relaxing and but also exciting at the same time. But that's how this feels. You took that lasso and then you finally kind of nail it and kind of pull it in and you do something with it, and then you win, score.
And
Yeah.
and then we do what, Janine? We brand it.
We bam.
That's
Oh,
it. Bink. You got it.
you. That's exactly what happens.
When we brand it. You have a good one.
I love it. I cannot wait. I am excited. I'm looking forward to the session with Jill. Yeah, I'm looking forward to the session with Jill, and it's gonna be great. That's on the 8th, I think, Monday, the 8th, or whatever that Monday is. That's in May.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that'll be great. I know. I'm super excited for you. Things are moving along. This is such a corner turning moment when it's finally defined. We're not just talking about what it could be.
Yes.
And we've got a really fine point on the pencil and
no fear.
And no fear.
And no fear. I'm seriously no fear.
I love it. I love
Thank
it.
you.
Thanks for your good energy today. This was super fun. What a tremendous delight to bake a cake for you like this.
Same here.
I'm super excited to see where we go. All right, Miss Lady. This is it for this piece. When we first sat down with Janine, as you know, she had all of these options in front of her and this real blank slate. She got to invent her business from the ground up. Our discovery took a couple of sessions because we had such a gardening bevy in front of us to pick and choose from. And we went back and forth pretty hardcore between this kind of like gardening inspired, hyper local community development project that allowed people to kind of learn about gardening, learn about singing, like just kind of this real cultural experience center. And Janine like basically passed out from exhaustion just thinking about the lift on something like that. It was super exciting to her, but the lift was like, I need a grant, I need space, I need partners, I'm never going to make any money, I have to figure out merchandise just to turn a dime. It sounds like a big undertaking. which is awesome for somebody who wants that to be their undertaking. But for Janine, she really wants
Sure.
something she can control, turn the faucet on and off of, and step her full breath into it.
Mhm.
So the good news is that we've landed in this wonderful space that is voiceover, branded audio, song, original song. She does these beautiful audio packages that she's formally called legacy story gifts, where she'll go and
Mm.
interview like the matriarch or the patriarch of the family and include pictures and storytelling and create an
Love
original
that.
song, blah 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 blah. Now we've been able to marry those two ideas between the community aspect of it, kind of gardening, the ancestors, every year this, if you invest in this garden, it bears fruits, this roots to fruits concept, and the recording studio, by focusing solely on two important aspects. One, that the result of the recordings, or the audience interface, does no harm. Meaning, she doesn't want to record commercials for cigarette companies. She doesn't
Mhm.
want to support or endorse, um, like a lobbying effort for,
Sure. Yeah,
yeah, for destructive stuff.
for whoever.
And yeah, for whoever. And she wants to focus on something I think would be extraordinarily powerful, which is Black voices. Where do you
Mm.
go to? Where do podcasts, webinars, commercials, movies, documentaries, training programs? Where do they go to get authentic Black voices, if that is in alignment with their audience?
Mhm.
So a perfect example would be a nonprofit whose major constituents are people, Black and brown people, who are not going to be motivated by white voices in a voiceover. They'll be
Mm.
motivated by Black voices. So that's where we're at, Jilly. We've
Okay.
done
Sounds
all
good.
of the
Sounds like you've made
all
some good progress here.
the best thing is Janine just getting super excited about her
Yeah.
focus. Where
Yeah, I can
before it was like,
imagine.
oh, I can do that. Oh, and I can do that. Oh, and I've got this talent, and I've got this piece over here, and I've always wanted to bring this. Now she's got this singular focus that
It's
she can bring
interesting,
to this
isn't it?
table.
I think she needed to get all of that out, though. That's really important, was probably for her to feel like she'd got every option out so that she could then actually look at what's on the table. I don't think it was ever that she was going to try and build something that incorporated every single facet of her interests and talents and skills. Um, so I think it's lovely that you've given her this way to get everything out and then sort it a little bit. We often use that sorting hat, don't we? But yeah, I love that she's kind of going through that at the moment.
Yeah, it was a difficult coaching experience
Mm,
in a way, Jilly, because I'm very used to people coming to the table with strong ideas and a strong
right.
mechanism, a strong notion of who their clients are and what they want to do. They're just in a pivot moment, or they want to expand their brand, or they know that they're talking about it in ways that aren't exactly resonating with their people. So
Hmm.
this took a while.
Yeah, this was definitely a pure coaching exercise. This was not a situation where you could say to her, "Here, hey Janine, here's the right answer." This
Here's
was
the
very
prescription.
much coaching her. Yeah,
Well, how do
yeah,
you do it?
coaching her.
How do you do it? How do you hold space for people who have so many ideas? How do you
Mm.
keep folks in line with their own? How do you reconcile having the wildest rewilding your business, or having the wildest vision, and the
Yeah,
pruned, cultivated garden? How do you help your clients do that?
that's a great question. And I think it starts with the fact that every idea is attached to a vision. And what I mean by that is that on some level, every one of these ideas and things that Janine's interested in, on some level inside her head, is attached to a future vision. So I guess the coaching part of that is to really get her to think from an elevated perspective, from being in the weeds of the ideas to trying to look at what the vision for the fully completed beautiful garden is, and to then come back from that back down to the ideas. Which of these ideas then aligns with that final vision, with that big vision of what life could look like for her? How can she get clarity on what that is, what that looks like? Then come back to the ideas and sort through them and say, okay, so this idea absolutely could feed that bigger vision in this capacity or with this little bit of tweaking. But this idea really sits outside of that vision and isn't something perhaps that is a part of what we're doing right now. It doesn't mean that any of her ideas or interests or skills ever need to be put aside forever. But it does mean that getting clarity on the final vision is what will allow her to sort through the ideas and work out which ones she wants to focus on. I hope that
The good news
answers
is
that question.
Brilliant. The good news is we're going to do this all through the art of triangulating those three lovely positioning statements that I like to present in this work. One that is pretty straightforward, one that's a little vanilla, a little butterscotch, and a little avant-garde. So she'll get a chance to explore all of these different entrees into her business and hear it articulated in words, not just like, oh, well, we could have a community center. Oh, well, we could do voiceover artistry. There's a market for that. Now she's going to see them in three very distinct ways, and we'll be able to pick and choose what words really resonate with her and what reflect that wild vision and the cultivated garden at the end. Your advice is spot on. Will you come back and join us?
Sorry, I was just wanting to add also that to your point about the positioning piece of this, the magical thing about the positioning that you do, Rebecca, is that hearing you read positioning statements back. So you've positioned my business many times, offers in my business many times. And it's an amazing experience, because what happens is that hearing you read the positioning statement back, it either cements a vision or it gives clarity that it's not right. So I think that process is going to help her get really clear as well. Just hearing these three options of positioning statements is going to, she will absolutely know when she hears you read them, which one is her.
Jilly, will you come back next week and get a taste of what she's picked? I can't wait to show you.
I would love to. Thank you. I am invested in this journey now. I think you're getting us all invested in Janine's journey, which is, it's exciting. I want to be part of this. So yes, please.
I can't wait to have you. Jilly, come back and join us next week as we see what Janine thought about these three very different positioning statements. Which one spoke to her and where we're going to go from there. I can't wait to see you.
I can't wait either. I will see you next week.
Super excited to see where we go. And if I don't end this recording, I'm going to kill somebody in my background.
Exactly.
You should know better. Tony Pareco, you know better than this.
Is he there?
Yeah. Come here.
Tony.
Come here. Not you, dog. Now they're quiet. Hold on.
All right. This is home. This is home.
Oh. Y'all are cutting up on my recording. You would kill me if I was at your house. She wants to say hi. Yeah. You would hang.
I didn't know you were recording.
I'm recording.
Tony.
Yeah, she's talking to you.
Janine, it's great to see you.
Oh my God. Tony, it has been too long. How are you?
Real good. Gosh, your room is incredible.
Thank you. You know what? It's great to be in this room and doing what I'm doing along with that sister there that you know very well. And as a matter of fact, Y'all beautiful. You ended up here with Keenan and I through Rebecca. This relationship, this thing we got going on is awesome. Yeah, it is. It is. You doing all right?
Doing real good. Thank you,
Good.
Janine. I appreciate you.
Good. I appreciate you. I'll see you soon. Rebecca, you may not know when I shared a lot of the photos and stuff like that. Real quick, one of the photos that I shared is of me, Tony, and Keenan. Is in the whole shebang.
The whole shebang,
Yeah.
just like the chips.
Oh, that's right. Rebecca can't hear us. Okay, so anyway, I'm glad to see you. Thank you, and give
Thanks,
Rebecca
Janine.
another hug for me.
You got
And yeah, and kiss. Yes, and
Yep.
we will talk soon.
Sounds great. Have a
Okay.
great session. I'm gonna get us to be quiet now. Sorry about that.
You would kill me if I was at your house.
I didn't know. You could have told me.
I told you 3 times I was recording with Janine at 11:30. Okay, I'm recording. I'm live.
Okay,
I'm live. That's it. That's my life. You're here
I love
for
it. I love it. I love it. Because you know what? None of what we do is just so bloody sterile. Thank goodness. It's just not. It isn't.
Thank goodness is right.
Yep.
Thank goodness is absolutely right. All right, Miss Lady. This is
Okay.
it for this piece. It's beautiful to not get a ton of pushback because it feels so sacred. It feels so holistic. It feels complete. And the reason we're able to get there is by doing a deep discovery and doing 3 very different positioning statements, as you'll see next week with Janine when we come at it from 3 different ways. And that way, in my opinion, and I'd love to hear what your experience of it was, in that way, you have triangulated pretty much every kind of pushing your elbows against every aspect of how you could possibly position this brand, and knowing beyond a shadow of a doubt that this one is it because you tried on the other ones. What was that like to get 3 different ones? Does it muddy the waters, or does it give you confidence?
No, not at all. And I think there were definitely parts of my positioning statement where I was like, nope, that's not going to work. But I think 95% of the 3 positioning statements used was used in my final positioning statement. And just a little recap of how this works. We get 3 different positioning statements, and they're all a little bit different. And usually it's, you tell me if I'm wrong, but I don't think very many people are like, okay, that's the one. They look at those and they say, okay, I want this piece and this piece. And then you're able to build this perfect looking positioning statement that's just so polished off that I can use this versus just you go to use ChatGPT. Okay, here's your positioning statement. It doesn't articulate your voice. The difference is this really shows who you are, and the list of things that you always list off is, you listed them earlier, but it really is able to show what positioning can actually do for you.
Oh boy, you guys. Does Janine have one hot positioning statement? The Janine sound experience is off with a bang. The Janine sound experience is off like a rocket. The Janine sound experience is sprouting quicker than beans in July. The Janine sound experience is kicking off with ignition. I can't wait to see where this goes. Me and transformative business coach Jill Mokes get into it as the coach coaches the coach. I pass the baton to Jilly so she can work with Janine to build the perfect business model to match this brand. I can't wait to see how that turns out, y'all. Join us next Monday as Jill and Janine sit down and sketch out a business model that will support the Janine sound experience and give Janine the entrepreneurial dream she's been envisioning.